In this video, we're going to talk about the practice exam that SOLIDWORKS offers for the surfacing certification. Just like all the other certifications, SOLIDWORKS allows you to download a sample exam. Now, this is a very important step in the preparation process. We've already talked about all the things that you can do to prepare yourself to understand the tools available to you for surfacing. We talked about going through this lesson, we talked about other lessons that we offer, and other resources available to you. Once you feel comfortable and you think you're ready to take the exam, go ahead and take the sample exam. SOLIDWORKS allows you to download files and the sample exam, and it gives you a good understanding of the types of things that'll be asked. For instance, the first question, you see there you're asked to create a surface using either the swept surface or surface fill. Now, we've talked about both of these tools throughout this video series, and you know that surface fill, swept surface, as well as several other different surfaces allow you to create the same type of geometry in many situations. And this just shows you that you're not limited to one set of tools or one set of thought processes. So be careful with the types of questions. Make sure you understand what's being asked of you. So before you ever create a surface, read entirely through the question and then look at what the question's going to be asking. It's asking for the surface to be flushed with the top plane. So that's one of the rules that you need to follow. And then you see that the surface should start with a profile that's parallel to the YZ plane. So these are all very important information. We can go down a little bit farther and you see the side shape should follow the boundary of the top surface. So everything they're telling you is setting you up for the next question. You need to create the surface. It needs to have an intersection with this top edge and it needs to follow all the criteria laid out in the question. And then if you'll notice, the second question asks you to create a fillet on that edge. Now, it's important to note that different types of fillets were added at different points in time. SOLIDWORKS 2014 allows you to use conic fillets that we've talked about. Previous versions might not have had those available. So make sure that when you look at these questions, you see what it's asking for. For instance, a curvature continuous fillet. So make sure that you set the type of your fillet for the profile to curvature continuous, and you don't accidentally use a conic. So after creating the original surface, measure its surface area. So we talked about that in another video, how to do that, selecting the surface and using the measure tool. And then after question 2, you create the fillet. It asks you for the surface area of your fillet. And you can see it gives you a range plus or minus 10 millimeters squared. And in this case, you actually have a selection. Question 3, we're still working with the same surfaces. So you'll notice that if you make a mistake on the first or the second question, then the trickle-down effect is going to cause you to have the wrong answer for the rest of the questions. So make sure that you read through these questions fully and you understand what it's asking and how to do it. So next you'll notice question 4 is asking for the original set of surfaces to be mirrored. And you see that it's actually giving you a material. And this is important because they're asking you to create a solid. So as we talked about in previous videos, if you have a set of surfaces that are considered watertight, completely sealed, you can knit them together and create a solid, or you can use the thicken to create a solid from the closed volume. In this case, we were dealing with surfaces creating a solid, and now it wants to know what the mass. So be sure that you have the units and the mass properties set for your file and that you're able to answer these questions. In addition to this practice exam, make sure that you reread these questions and see if you can apply them to different examples as well. Take as much time as you need to prepare for the exam and use as many tools available to you as possible so that you have a good understanding of these tools and you don't have to sit there and learn them on the spot when the question is asked. If during the exam for some reason you get stuck, don't forget that you can use the help file. Anytime that you use a feature inside SOLIDWORKS, for instance, if we wanted to use the planar surface, in the top right-hand side of the properties window, you can click help and a help window will open directly to that topic, give you all the information about that feature and some tips on how to use it. So don't be afraid to use these resources to your advantage during the exam as well.